There is someone you still think about. Someone who didn't choose you, who left without explanation, or stayed and made you feel invisible anyway. And yet, here you are, missing them. Not because they were good to you, but in spite of the fact that they weren't. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you've wondered if something is wrong with you. There isn't. But understanding why this happens will change how you see yourself forever. You know exactly what I'm describing. You replay conversations that went nowhere. You zoom in on small moments, a look they gave you, a time they almost seemed to care. You don't miss what they actually gave you. You miss the version of them you believed was possible. You miss the potential, the almost, the if only. And the more they pulled away, the louder the pull became inside you. This isn't weakness. This isn't delusion. This is your brain behaving exactly as it was designed to. In psychology, this pattern has a name. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it is one of the most powerful behavioral forces the human brain has ever been subjected to. Think about a slot machine. You don't get rewarded every time you pull the lever. Sometimes nothing, sometimes nothing, sometimes nothing, and then something. That unpredictability doesn't make you stop. It makes you more desperate to continue. Because your brain is wired to chase patterns. And when the reward is inconsistent, the dopamine system doesn't slow down, it amplifies. It treats every small moment of warmth as a signal that the jackpot is coming. That's what happened with this person. They were warm, then cold, present, then distant, tender in one moment, absent in the next. And your nervous system read that not as danger, but as a puzzle to solve. Here is what I want you to understand. The fact that you miss them doesn't mean you loved poorly. It means you loved honestly inside a system that was designed to keep you reaching. You weren't irrational. You were operating on ancient programming. The research of psychologist B.F. Skinner showed that variable reward schedules produce the strongest and most persistent behaviors in rats, in humans, in all of us. This isn't a flaw in your character. It's a feature of consciousness that was built for survival, repurposed without your permission in the context of a relationship that didn't know how to hold you. You are not broken. You are someone whose nervous system became organized around uncertainty. And now the absence of that person feels like withdrawal from something your body believed it needed. That is not love failing you. That is biology. Let's go deeper. When you experience something unpredictably pleasurable, a text after days of silence, a moment of warmth you didn't expect, your brain releases a surge of dopamine. But here's what most people don't know. Dopamine isn't the chemical of pleasure. It's the chemical of anticipation. It fires not when you receive the reward, but in the moment before, in the waiting. So when someone is inconsistent with you, your brain doesn't just respond to the good moments, it learns to live between them. It becomes alert, scanning, hoping. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent years mapping this, watching how dopamine neurons respond to unpredictable rewards. The conclusion was striking. The brain becomes most activated not by certainty, but by the possibility of something good. The almost, the maybe. Now combine that with attachment theory. If your early caregivers were inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes withdrawn, your nervous system learned a specific language, the language of earned love. You internalized the belief that love requires effort, that you must prove yourself worthy of being chosen. So when someone treats you inconsistently as an adult, it doesn't just feel familiar, it feels home. Not because it's safe, but because your nervous system has been rehearsing this dance for a very long time. The person you miss, they may have activated something ancient in you, not because they were the one, but because they rhymed with something unresolved you've been carrying long before you ever met them. So what do you do with all of this? Not tips, not affirmations, something deeper. First, name the pattern, not the person. When the missing rises in you, don't reach for their memory. Reach for this question instead. What was I hoping they would finally give me? Write it down if you need to, because 9 times out of 10, what you'll find underneath the longing isn't about them at all. It's about something you've needed long before they arrived. In psychology, this is called projection, placing our unmet needs onto the person in front of us. When you can name the need, you no longer need the person to fulfill it. Second, interrupt the rumination loop. The brain is a prediction machine. When you think about this person, your brain is running a simulation, trying to resolve an incomplete narrative. Psychologist Bluma Zeikernik discovered that the mind holds on to unfinished things far more tightly than resolved ones. This is called the Zeikernik effect. The relationship didn't end cleanly. There were no real answers, so your brain keeps the file open. The way to close it is not to get closure from them, it's to write your own ending. Literally. Journal the version of events where you finally understand what happened and where you acknowledge that the uncertainty is the answer. They were not able to give you what you needed. That is complete. Third, retrain what your body associates with love. This is the slow work, the quiet work. Deliberately notice the feeling of consistent kindness. When a friend shows up, when someone follows through, when care arrives without drama. Your nervous system may not know how to feel excited by that. It's been trained to need the spike, the push and pull. But safety can be learned. Neuroplasticity tells us that the brain reshapes itself through repetition. Every time you let consistency feel meaningful, you are literally rewiring what love is allowed to look like inside you. Fourth, create distance from the mythology. Write down exactly how they treated you. Not the peak moments, not the almost moments. The pattern, what they did consistently, how you felt most of the time. Then ask, if a stranger told me this story about their relationship, what would I tell them? You already know the answer. The mind has a strange talent for protecting us from truths we're not quite ready to hold. This exercise bypasses that. It lets you see what you've been too close to see clearly. Here is the one mental model to carry with you.
You don't miss them. You miss the version of yourself that still believed they were going to change. That self was not naive. That self was hopeful. And hope is one of the most human things that exists. But there is a difference between hope that opens you and hope that holds you in place. The person you keep returning to in your mind, they were not the destination. They were the signal. A signal pointing at something in you that still needs tending, still needs to be seen, still needs to be told. You are allowed to be chosen well. The missing will come. It always does.
You'll hear a song. You'll see a place. Something will land in you quietly, and you'll feel it again. Let it come. Don't fight it. Don't analyze it in the moment. Just let it move through you, like weather moves through an open window. And remember, grief for someone who didn't treat you well is not a sign that you loved wrong. It's a sign that you wanted something real. And that wanting, that ache for genuine connection, is not something to be ashamed of. It is the truest thing about you. The work now is not to stop feeling. It's to slowly, patiently learn to recognize what you're actually looking for in the texture of ordinary, quiet, chosen love. It exists, and your nervous system can learn to recognize it as home.